feedback and you guys can take a look at it, or if you know your answer today, we can move forward today.
I like them. Look good to
So
me.
the pavilions are the two that we had lots of positive, I mean, almost all positive on the two pavilions. That's the boat ramp, pavilion and fish cleaning station at the back with the cooler.
Everyone loved the picnic tables and the fact that the restrooms were right there.
It's also an event area,
Yes.
and that's awesome.
And then the next one is the Canal Park Pavilion.
I have a question about this Canal Park one. The roof is slanted and this is the canal over here, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, if the roof is slanted like that instead of a peaked roof, you're gonna catch from early morning until late afternoon sun coming right in on that pavilion. If it were a slanted roof, it's gonna give you a lot more protection than that.
But it turns out to be a big deal. We could always slant it underneath the existing roof.
There's no point in doing a second roof if you can fix it the first time.
Well, then wear sunglasses.
I believe for fishing is, if you want my opinion, is that it lives up, you can cast the reel and just have more room that way than you.
We're gonna have people fishing from the pavilion?
Well, isn't that the water right there?
No, it's
The sidewalk is
this
the
way.
other side.
There's a sidewalk there.
There's a sidewalk under the water. But you
No.
could still cast.
Cast and walk back in, and sit down.
Well, I just think the design should be much more sun-friendly because it's open to the east so that the east sun comes in all the way until it sets in the west. So that's a problem.
So that until noon is a problem.
Yes, until late afternoon. Yeah.
Should we
so-
add that to the public comments? We can add that to the
Sure.
list, and I think that there's a number of things that people mentioned that I think the architects are gonna look at, and they were very open to feedback and so forth, so we can definitely add that.
Yeah, I mean, we're limited, we're not gonna go and redesign the whole thing,
Right,
but
right,
yes, we'll give that feedback to the architects and let them take a look at it.
Okay.
So anyways, those are pavilions. If
I'm
you
fine
guys-
with the pavilion.
You
Yes.
guys want to
Absolutely.
explore?
Is there
Okay.
any reason to, I mean, is there anybody that wants to do something different with the pavilion, the fish, the canal and the, fish cleaning or the boat ramp?
No, I think the architects could probably come up with something to satisfy Lisa that wouldn't be that expensive. And it makes sense. I mean, of course, I don't get up
It
early.
actually looks more angled in the photo than it is. If you look at the one, the top right corner, that
Yeah.
gives you a better idea. It's
The
a
parking,
visual. Yeah, and we've got, let's just skip, let's
I wanna
say
skip-
parking
I'll
for
skip
last.
the park.
Let's save that for last.
I still am having,
Let's do, 7th Street Park real quick, the landscape planning
Here you
for
go.
7th Street Park. And those are all.
now, those the people that volunteered, that's awesome that they do that.
People loved that they were local, that they were,
Yeah,
natural
natural
and
plants, yeah.
so forth.
That's gonna be
And they
nice.
loved the
You guys are
bathroom
comfortable
being
with
redone.
I'm very comfortable.
Now-
Yeah.
Do we need irrigation after we plant them?
We have irrigation there.
We do?
That side.
Yeah, I would imagine our wells
And there's
toast, but,
restroom.
yeah, and the restrooms will be going back, and of course, we'll be looking at a design similar to the Canal Park, just on a smaller scale.
It's actually gonna be creative.
Yes. So if you're okay with that, we can move forward with
Yeah,
that.
those three I'm good with. Everybody good with the
Yes,
park and the two
yes,
pavilions?
So do we
Yeah.
wanna put the parking on the special meeting agenda, and I can send you guys the feedback, or you can think about it and.
Well, the longer we wait to make a decision, it just drags things out. I think, let's do it Monday. Can we do it Monday?
Yeah, that's what I said, Monday for the special meeting.
What does anybody else think about that?
That's good.
Mayor Pro Tem, what do you think?
Parking is gonna be a big thing.
Parking is gonna be a big issue. I'm getting a lot of questions and people are making comments to me about the parking. And they're not nearly as friendly as.
Yeah, and
as
I
the park.
will
Well, it's a
say-
safety issue too.
Well,
It
I
is.
mean,
I
we
thought
don't,
this corrected part of that.
we don't wanna
It is
wait
safe.
till some kid gets run over
This
by a
helped.
truck.
yeah.
The safety issue.
I
Yeah,
guess,
that's the primary
I can
concern.
send you guys the feedback, but I'm a little perplexed by some of the comments. The comments were, we don't want parking at the dedicated beach. Well, hell, you had parking before. We had
Yeah,
about 400
Yeah.
spaces on one side. We've actually reduced the number and added lots of, we made it safer. So some of the comments, I don't really know how to respond to them because, that's, I mean, those of us who live on that end of town know what that was like trying to plow those side streets on during the summertime, so, I'll send you guys the feedback and you can look at it,
I'll tell you, my
Make a
comments
decision.
from people that I've spoken to, including myself, thinking of, I'm concerned that there's not enough open space, that open space where that we just maybe be better off to give up a few more parking places and have more open space.
we can certainly do that.
That's
It-
the only,
it-
the angle, all of that I'm fine with, and I'm like what you just said. If you're a dedicated beach property owner, you know, you'd rather just rope the whole damn thing.
There were people who started getting very creative about solutions and saying, we should put parking meters and we should
no.
close down access, and so there were, that chain of thought got a lot of
Wait till we have
activity,
the
but one of the
bypass,
things,
bypass is gonna be built one of these days.
if I could say, one of the things that I think people didn't recognize is because of the way this is drawn, you don't see that there's 10 spaces, a very large open area, 10 more, and a smaller landscaped area. But because of the way it was presented, I think it wasn't, and maybe the architects could come back and give a couple of close-ups of what that might look like. I think people would feel,
Yeah, it's not as
you know,
continuous.
It's a little
Right.
overwhelming to some.
it is, and it's hard for you to kind of wrap your mind around what exactly is that and what is that. But if we had a little more, I think it might help with some of the concerns.
There's lots of landscape area, it's just hard to see
It
in
is.
that drawing because we were trying to encompass the whole beach, but there's lots of green space there, lots of trees going back.
Lot
You
more
can
than
see
there
there's
was.
1, 2, 3.
A lot more than before as far as green space, and we went from about 400 parking spaces down to about 361. So we reduced the number, and incorporate a lot of green space, so we can, I'll send you guys the feedback, and
Okay.
maybe Monday we'll bring something back that gives you a little, maybe some dimensions on the green space, so.
People love the backup lane. They love not having to back
Yeah.
out onto 98.
Just a quick question on that. Have you had a response from DOT? I mean, are they in,
DOT
they're
loves
all,
it, yeah, they're in full
Is that
support
big?
of
On
it.
98, you've never had to get out of your car and stop traffic.
Okay, so,
I've never seen a
we're moving on?
back out.
Right.
okay, thank you.
Okay. Phase 2 sewer discussion, we are on target with our phase 1, it'll be complete tomorrow. So anyone on between Miramar down to 24th Street south of 98, you have sewer starting tomorrow.
Give that again.
From 24th down to Miramar, right, that's right. And,
Include your-
but what we're asking you to do is, if you need, if you're ready for your water service to be turned back on, your water and sewer, or if you have a home or an RV there with a bladder right now, call us, because when we turn your water back on, or when you remove that bladder, what we're gonna do is come out and take a camera and inspect those laterals. Remember, we talked in the meeting that we discovered damage with those laterals, so the city will have to come out and inspect those and make any repairs, clean it out, anything we need to do, and we're talking about a day, we're not talking about a week. So if you're ready to have your sewer and water turned back on, just give us a call and we'll send somebody out there to check it, and we're all back in business with sewer and water on the south
Did
side.
you say 24th or 21st?
24th.
24th.
Miramar.
24th. Miramar.
So
Wow.
for phase 2, we told the contractor, if you can bring it in on time, and make it happen for us, we'll look at, doing a change order for phase 2, instead of going through the lengthy process to put it out for bid. We'll save a lot of money, the contractor's there, they're already mobilized, so we're asking for the council permission to, do a change order to do the phase 2 sewer, which is, do you know exactly what phase 2 is?
Phase 2 is picking up from 24th, moving eastward, and it includes the entire rest of the city, with the exception of the small section between Toucans and the Old Governor that was completely washed out. That's considered phase 3, so it would be everything else.
2 cans to what?
I think it's roughly Toucans to the Old Governor. There's a section.
Is that Loyal American?
Yes, yeah.
And we have somebody that's doing those, we're behind them, we're inspecting, we're seeing what they
Yes,
do,
yes,
and we've been pleased.
yes, and they have
Awesome.
passed all of their testing, so,
Okay.
yeah, and they met their deadline.
So, we just need council approval to put that phase two, give that to, Royal American as a change order instead of putting that out for bid. Same rates.
The phase two change order, you need approval for that?
Yes.
Well, we're not approving the change order, we're just
just
asking, do you want to
want to
put
do
it out
a
for
change
bid, or do we wanna do a change order and let Royal American continue working?
And then we'll bring the change order with the price to you. And we may be able
I'd
to
rather do it that way first.
Okay,
put it out.
No,
do the change
Yeah.
order.
take it to them,
Royal
Okay.
American.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, alright, good.
And bring the number back.
Okay, alright,
Yeah.
we'll do that.
If we've been following them and we're pleased,
Yes.
I think that's, for me, that's the way I'd rather do it.
I agree.
Okay. And it really has been bid, because it's just straight using the unit cost that they bid for the first phase and applying that to the next one, so.
Saves us time and money. Okay, so the next item is the control panel discussion. Those are the lift station panels. The city was going to try to install those. We did install 3, but it's just so time consuming. Now we're down public works director, and we've got 2 of our guys filling in there. So, we think it's in our best interest to go ahead and have, put those out for bid. And are we gonna put them out for bid or do them as a change order for Royal
That's the
American?
question.
We can let Royal American do those as well. But
How many do
just-
we have?
We have, they've completed 3, so we have about 25 left, about 25 left.
And we have all the panels?
Yes, and they gave us a cost, and it's reasonable, so we could, I think, I don't wanna, don't
Reasonable.
quote me,
Yeah,
but
That's a scary word.
I think when I added it up, it was gonna be close to $200,000 for all of them, but it's FEMA reimbursable.
Kinda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's FEMA reimbursable, and
That's
if
a
you,
better word.
if you think about the amount of labor we spent on just putting the first 3 in,
And getting it in quick.
it's cheaper to pay a contractor to do it.
And
So
it
why don't we
includes,
do that?
it includes they'll have to run electrical.
Well, how do we, does FEMA, that process is
Reimbursable.
okay with
Yes,
with
'cause
them?
well, we'll make sure it's okay, but we'll give you guys an answer on Monday at the special meeting and bring you back a price component if you're
Okay.
willing to let us do that.
Is that good?
Normally,
Yeah.
what would you consider on doing change orders versus rebidding? It's just, you don't wanna balloon the original scope so much that it looks like a totally different
Right.
project. What was the original work priced at that they're well underway on?
I think it was just under 500,000.
Okay, and so the phase 2 of the same kind of work is roughly how much?
I don't wanna,
I don't think.
I haven't cleared it
Okay.
through them, but I'm thinking it's definitely gonna be under 500,000, it's gonna be less than phase 1.
Plus 200 for the control panels, I mean, it's getting up there, we're probably at least doubling the original scope. I'm okay if FEMA and the FEMA consultants are
FEMA-
okay, but that is a pretty
Right.
hefty change order.
The way FEMA looks at it is, it's not that we're adding, I don't know how to explain it, it's still within the scope of repairs, it's sewer repairs, and we're
Sure.
going to be doing the same type of repairs on the other side of town, so to FEMA, that, especially since we already have unit costs that they bid, we're gonna be applying those to the next phase, with the exception of the control panels, but it's within that whole scope of the
So
sewer
FEMA's
repair.
okay with this, you say?
That's what Atkins told me.
Okay, I think we're done with that.
We will definitely verify that, but our initial response is it's perfectly acceptable, so. So you guys okay with that?
Yes,
Yes,
I am.
me too.
Alright, the next one, the amended task order for sediment sampling, I'm gonna let Dina run through that one quickly.
Yeah, so, this is an amendment to allow us to do, additional sediment sampling north of the bridge for the portion of the dredge that we are, or the portion of the canal that we're dredging. Previously, we stopped at the bridge, we assumed that everything north was gonna be heavily contaminated, we didn't wanna spend all the money to do sampling. We've kind of scaled that back in this, but we're recommending that we go ahead and sample it because if we get samples back and they're contaminated, we can decide whether we send it to a class 1 or a class 3 landfill. If we show through this sampling that it's able to go to a class 3, it will save the city the cost of the tipping fees and transport to the class 1, and that adds up to an estimated amount of $1.7 million. So if we do this sampling and we can show that, we can save $1.7 million potentially. Again, this is FEMA reimbursable, but I think it would be, we know it's contaminated, but I think it might be worth it to go ahead and find out if it could go to a cheaper landfill.
North of the 98 bridge,
8 samples north.
Parker Bridge.
Yes, sorry, yes. So the remaining section of the canal that we're currently dredging, this would cover, we had not sampled that previously. This would
But
sample
we've
that.
dredged it.
Yes, but right now it's going to the spoil site, we haven't started hauling
We
it
haven't
out
hauled
yet.
it out yet.
So we have time
Oh,
to get this
okay.
figured out,
So this is strictly to determine if it's landfill.
which landfill it can go
Yeah.
to.
And based on sampling south of 98, we think we
We
could
think
save
it-
a ton of money,
Yeah,
1.7 million.
Yeah, you're done.
but we have to
There'd
do
be a
this to
time.
prove it to the
Yeah.
state. The state will require we show this.
I'm over that.
Has nothing to do with what we dredge, where we dredge,
No.
whether or not it's.
It's
It's
just
just
where we're gonna haul it to from that spoil site.
And this is
You have a-
amended task
Yes,
order.
and you have that, task order. It's, the one I passed out
What-
just
what are
before
we-
the meeting.
You
The 2
have,
sheets just before the meeting.
we're amending
Right.
the original task
That's what I'm
order.
looking at, but this is the
Dewberry.
original task order?
This is an amended, we had an original, a previous task order that allowed us to sample up to the bridge and then along 8th Street. This allows us to take 8 more samples and go through the remainder of the dredge project. So it's adding on.
All the way
to that.
behind Waterside.
Yes,
So it's $11,300 to save about 1.7 million.
That seems reasonable to me.
Yeah.
So you guys,
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah. Of course, she's not here.
Already getting in trouble.
any,
So is this a council approval for this, or, okay? All right, so we'll entertain a chair will entertain a motion for, approval of the amended task order for $11,300.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, is there any opposition? Motion carries 5-0.
okay, the next one is the, change order for water plant. Do we have that ready? Do you have that?
it's in the packet. Looks like this.
Oh, you pulled mine
Yeah, sorry. It's where it's at. So this is, for the Public Works building. Originally, we had bid removing and then putting back the VCT tile flooring. For the sake of maintenance and durability, Public Works is asking not to put the tile back, but to do an epoxy, paint coating on the floors. So the total increase would be $7,612 to do that. However, if you note, the actual contract price is not changing with this change order, because that bid, we built in contingency of, I think, about $150,000. So if you approve this, the total contract price isn't going up. That will just take out some of our contingency by this amount.
How durable is the epoxy?
Apparently, I don't have experience with it, but apparently Thomas and Philip thought this was a much more maintenance-free, durable option.
Well, if it's not prepared right and cleaned very well, if you don't have a real good professional person doing that, your epoxy won't last that long.
Which
Yeah,
I think is part of this, the cost to do it, because they're gonna have to
Professional
take the
person
floor
might be able to-
down all the way.
But if it is prepared right,
It lasts a long time.
So we don't need any action on
Well, you do have to approve the change order, because even though we have the contingency, we're changing the scope. So you have to decide whether you agree with the scope change to use that contingency.
it. We're not changing the money.
You still have to, approve the scope
The
change.
scope, because we're changing the
Okay,
work to be
okay,
performed, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we need We need a motion to approve the change in the scope of work. Does it have to have a dollar value associated with it?
It does.
He's got-
I know it does, but I
7,000.
guess I don't know the right. I'm a little bit-
$7,612 to approve that
Okay,
change.
we'll just add that to it to make it official. All right, so somebody, Rex, you
Make a
good,
motion.
you good at that?
Make a motion to approve the, water plant change order to $7,612.
Yes.
Second,
So,
but, different.
You sort of fumbled on that one, didn't you?
Drop the ball.
But you got it done, good job. All right, so everybody understood the motion? Okay. Any opposition?
No.
All right, moving on. Motion carries 5-0.
The next one, storage buildings for public works. As you know, we lost all of our storage buildings, and everything in them. But thanks to Lowe's, we have quite the collection of tools again. So Public Works is proposing to add two 12x24 sheds, and we have, Tool Time has given us a proposal of $11,090 for the two. Some of this would come from insurance money. This is under the competitive bid amount, so you guys can approve this. And we desperately need some storage over there.
Sounds good to me.
is 12x24 on the need?
Two 12x24.
I know, but is that still?
That's all they've asked for at this point.
Can you say that again about the competitive bid?
Anything under 20,000, you don't have to put it out for competitive bid, but the agreement, when we changed that ordinance, was that I would bring everything to you guys, whether we had to put it out for bid or not.
Well, in this case, I have to ask, why would we not? Why would we not?
Because the ordinance says it's on, we only have to put it out for competitive bid if it's over 20,000. So we don't have to. We haven't done that for anything else, and we've always followed that ordinance.
But I mean, we just called these people, right, and got a quote?
They called several people, I think this was the best quote.
That's what I was going.
Yeah, there we go.
I guess that's what I was getting. Okay.
Well, I kinda looked at it online, different sizes and all in there, and this is pretty close in there.
They do a good job.
They do,
Yeah.
So, how are we paying for these? Insurance, I
We
mean,
have insurance, and of course, this is public assistance as well. We lost that equipment this one.
so we need approval for this. Okay, Chair will entertain a motion.
Give Rex a chance.
Are we covered?
You want-
Make a motion to approve the, spending $11,090 to 2 times to perform this scope of work for, two 12x24 sheds.
Second.
All right. Is there further discussion? Is there any opposition to that motion? Let the record show 5-0.
Okay. The next one is furniture for public works. Of course, they lost all their furniture as well, due to the storm surge. And we have a price from, Let's Office Products. They're the same company who did all the furniture in this building, and they've given us a price. This is, the Florida State contract price. So again, our competitive bid ordinance allows us to purchase, off of a already competitively bid state contract. So this is the state price. You'll see the total for the entire building on, next to the last page, $27,566.46.
I want some of their chairs.
Me too.
That's pretty expensive.
Let's get into delivery first.
Well, I tell you, anybody gives somebody a 58.61% discount, I worry about that.
It's a state.
Yeah.
That's the furniture business.
Yeah.
It's the
I've been
state
there.
contract.
I know it is, I just, when you see that, I just, you know,
Pretty good markup. We have to set,
now this is for the public works bill?
Yes, for all the offices there. They have a conference table and chairs in each office.
That's
They
right.
had equipment
That's
before the
right.
storm, they lost all that. the furniture that we have is, we haven't had any issues with it other than the chair that you have seen always
Yeah,
here.
Yeah, we don't want one of those. That's for the mayor pro tem.
maybe something to that. All right, motion,
Oh, Rex?
Make a motion to approve, 27,566.46 to Litt's Furniture for Public Works Building.
Second.
motion second, further discussion,
That's how I jumped in.
or is there any opposition? All right, motion carries 5-0.
Well, here, chair.
You got it in for the vote to take.
I just have a few miscellaneous.
All right.
I can run through this quickly. The CoOp Planning, with Duke Energy, it was a great success. If you haven't been down there, you should go down there and take a look at the COs. We've, as the contractor, works through that, they'll be completing the COs and putting up the dune fencing and the rope, for those dunes. And it looks really good. I wanna thank, Lorraine Lindsay and Kathy Crum, who worked tirelessly to pull that thing off. And if you see them, thank them. Lorraine's been working on that for probably 4 months, finding the COs and putting all that together. There's so many, I got articles from all over the country where, they were talking about that COP planning, so it was a really big deal. So when you see Lorraine, please thank her and Kathy, for all of their work. I would like to send a letter to Duke, that's a $150,000 donation, so I want to prepare a letter for the mayor to sign if the council is comfortable with that, to thank Duke for,
How many people did they have? Did anybody ever, did they get a
I
count?
think 300,
about 300.
It was awesome.
yeah.
300
It
volunteers.
was really awesome.
People came from all over,
It
all
looks
over
great.
to help.
They actually
Yeah,
capped
they
that
do.
volunteer, cause I tried to sign up and then when I
Yeah,
it was
we
capped
had
down.
more than we needed.
They don't let engineers do that.
No.
So, and all we would ask people to please stay off the berms, please stay off the berms. It's a little aggravating when we get in there and we see people are walking across them. You have areas where you can pass through them, please stay off the berms and allow the vegetation to.
I know the mayor hates extra signs in town, but this may be one time that you might consider putting large signs that say, stay off the berms, fresh COs planted.
Yeah, our, contractor will be, once they rope those off, they'll be putting.
They'll have to have, I
Yeah.
know there's some required signs.
It'll be-
It may not be as large as what you think it should be, but
We have the Golly Whopper, Tournament Classic, coming up the 21st through the 22nd. The city's been working with, those guys to, get ready. We're just waiting, we have the permits, we're just waiting on, the insurance. And Zach, keep me straight, all the proceeds are coming to the city.
100% of the proceeds we're gonna give to the city. I think we designated to the canal fund and maybe fish cleaning stations, but we're not gonna give out prize money, we're gonna give everything to the city. Invite all y'all there, it'll be at the boat launch, Friday afternoon, captain's party and band, and Saturday afternoon, the weigh-in.
So we're excited about that. So look for that. Code enforcement, as of today, we probably sent out about 100 letters, for citations related to unsafe structures or debris. People aren't happy with us, because we're enforcing, trying to get our city cleaned up, so you may get some phone calls. We are working with people, if they're on the FEMA demolition list, we're working with people who are, if you're waiting on insurance or you're in litigation with your insurance company, we're working with folks, but we just ask that you help us clean up our city and clean up your lot and get your homes demoed but you guys can expect some phone calls, cause
Already had a
we're a
few.
little frustrated.
So if the trees are down, excuse me, on the vacant lot, and the people that own the lot can get it all cut up and moved to the right of way, FEMA will pay for picking it up.
Well, that emergency period ended, we put something on Facebook about that, now people are gonna have to haul that off.
They're gonna have to haul it off, so they didn't do what they should have done.
We are asking for an extension, if we get an extension, we'll let you know, but right now, people are gonna have to haul it off.
And now, the other thing here, what about the people that have had their lots cleared, didn't take their stumps up, and now you can't mow it? Are we gonna lean on them to mow it and keep, otherwise, the brush is gonna grow up 3 or 4 or 5, 6 feet tall?
Well, we're enforcing the land development regulations, so if you've got,
So if it's been cleared, they need to mow it. Okay,
Long those.
yeah,
um,
there is.
so let's see, the last thing, I wanted to mention, so the building that police and fire, is in currently is provided by the state. We lose that building September 1st, so we've been looking at options and what can we do with police and fire until we can rebuild the government complex, which we know at best we're looking at 2 years to
At
do
best.
something with that. So what we've, the proposal we'd like to give the council, because we think it's important to get them out of Parker Park and get that park put back together. It's the only special event venue that we have for concerts in the park and other things, and it looks a little unsightly right now. So we priced modulars, we looked at many different options, and we think that we can solve it with very little money. The fire department has worked with, I think, the Dewberry engineer and an architect looking at using that upstairs in the Public Works building, finishing that out, using the first bay for the fire trucks, and then having the upstairs there for their sleeping quarters, office, whatever we need. The fire chief has looked at it carefully. He's in full support of using that area. He's sat down with Tommy and Thomas and talked about the impact on Public Works, and they don't see any issue with that. Marshall Brothers is there currently doing the repairs and renovation. We can either put that work out for bid or do a change order and let them finish it off. And we can put the fire department in the Public Works building temporarily until we can move that. Finished out, that space will not be lost because we could use that later. If we had a storm and Public Works employees needed to stay overnight, that building survived that Cat 5, so that's an option. And of course, we do plan on applying for FEMA public assistance to help with that temporary structure. So that's fire department. Police department, we're not backfilling Sharon's position, so when Atkins moves out, which is as soon as debris ramps down, they'll be probably working remotely. We'll have 3 offices available. I'd like to put the police department in this building temporarily. They'll have 3 offices. We have to look at some security issues with our network and some things like that, but it's just a matter of moving them over here and giving them a permanent home here at City Hall until we can rebuild. So that's the proposal. I want to kind of get your input on how you feel about that.
I like
Just doesn't make sense to buy a new building.
Makes 2.
3.
We all like it.
4. Chief.
No, we pro tem?
Yeah, we're still waiting for the meter room though. Have you got anything on that?
We're waiting on Casuna to finish their
Have
repair.
they even started?
Yes, my understanding they started, they pulled their permits, so things are working.
I saw 2 guys on a ladder.
Oh, really?
If that means anything out there, I mean, you see a lot of that in town, but they were actually on that roof. And I eased by there and they looked like they were, so maybe they are doing something.
Good.
You say they did pull the
They
permit?
did.
Okay.
No, that's good.
So anyway, so if you guys are comfortable with that, we'll move forward, with,
When will, what do you need from us for the build out?
we'll need to get some, we'll need to look at it and figure out, I'll get with Atkins and figure out if they think we need to put that out for bid, or we can
Okay,
do a
so-
change order. We just need to make sure we're gonna follow all of our FEMA rules.
FEMA will help us with that.
So, but I'll bring that back to you guys. I may
Okay.
have an answer by Monday's special meeting.
All right, so what is on the special meeting?
On the special meeting, well, we're gonna talk about, I guess, was it beach vending we added?
Yes.
We added beach vending. We're gonna talk about, the dredging, we need a barge for dredging. Kaiser Canyon just pulled their barge out. The sub said he wasn't staying, he wasn't making enough money, he just left. So we're going to, Crowder Gulf has agreed to bring in a barge. If they bring in their barge, they're no longer gonna charge us downtime. I
The
know,
debris barge,
yeah.
he pulled it out. That was the complement, the barge that was helping
Pull
to
debris.
keep the
mhm,
cutter head from
dredge.
getting clogged up.
Correct, correct. So Crowder Gulf is gonna bring in their own barge and do it. The good news is, we've been paying for downtime every time they hit debris, but they're gonna bring in their own barge and we no longer have to pay for downtime. So, it's actually a much better scenario for us. So we'll have that, change order for you guys on Monday. Hydroseeding, we were going with DOT, Roberts, and DOT really didn't want us to do that, so we are, Crowder Gulf has given us a
We've
price
gotten-
on the hydroseeding.
Yeah, we've gotten 3 different prices on Hydroseeding, one from Crowder Gulf, and they're on the low end,
Yeah.
so it's reasonable.
So we need to give you that, so we can finish up the hydroseeding, for all of the storm ditches and along the canal.
DOT didn't, I'm sorry, I'm having a.
DOT didn't want us to do any change orders associated with that contract. Remember the whole?
Yes, I do, okay.
So we went to Crowder Gulf, cause they just hydroseeded, the 8th Street Canal for us, so we're just thinking we'll give them a change order and let them do the rest. And then, planting the dunes, so the plan was is they would put the dunes in and then put the fencing in, then come back at the end and put the sea oats in. But we're having a problem with the nesting shorebirds, and as long as the sea oats are in, they won't try to nest, because they don't like the vegetation. So we're gonna ask the contractor to, go ahead and put the sea oats in when they finish it, so we can make sure the birds, stay off of them, because once they nest, then we're shut down till after nesting season, so.
Well, that'd be
Yeah,
Gulf
that's
County.
We have a hatchling already.
Yeah, we do, so, the turtles and the birds are giving us a run for our money, but
So how long will that be closed off, do you think, Tanya? The area around 40th Street?
when the until late July, we can't really touch it until after the birds are
Yeah.
gone.
That's it.
So anyways, that's gonna be a change order, about 17,000.
I think it's about 13.
About 13,000, but that's gonna be on the agenda for Monday, so you guys can take a look.
Okay.
Excuse me, Tony, can I ask you one question? We did a miscellaneous, so I could mention something about grandfathering at the planning and zoning, and I'm assuming it was carried over today. Is there,
We didn't, but I don't.
is there like 7
Are
seconds
you
I
okay
can show, ask y'all a question about grandfather?
7 seconds?
17 maybe.
That won't live, never in your lifetime if you do
Yeah,
7
but
seconds.
I've got a horse throat, so I can't talk.
Go ahead.
But, okay, we, like everybody else, we got blasted on 10/10, and we have a grandfathering question or issue or concerns, or maybe I'm just gotten ignorant in old age, but, basically, we had 13 rental units for 50 some odd years on 5 lots. And, we lost all but 114, which was the, 35th Street duplex, which we were advised by the Google engineers that we're gonna start using more to tear it down, so we're down to slabs and pillars on that one unit. And I've retained the slabs, but I understand, rather than worrying or concerning ourselves with the slabs per se, that it might be a good idea, I mentioned to some of the officials last week, to look at the 13 unit density on the second page. It's a suggestion, rather than have a fourplex, a duplex, a fourplex, and the same one on a duplex, would be to spread versus 13, 12 units, the 2 triplexes on the water, then 3 duplexes, kind of keep it simple that way. And then I was suggested by people smarter than me, I may wanna get a replat situation, and we had a single parcel by way of tax assessor, so plenty of confusion. But our family, we Rascal Brothers, are thinking of pulling out the 114, which was the first duplex lot, still having the slabs and the pillars there, rebuilding that one and then selling the rest. But I didn't wanna get into the same questions we had about the rezoning the commercial. If we were to sell a lot, I would wanna be able to at least tell people we've had this discussion with the city, and under the grandfathering scenario, that this could likely be done to avoid spinning tops like I was doing on this commercial idea without a site plan. So on this, I wanted to at least have a discussion and see if this is something that y'all could work with, and we could advise our realtor kind of how to present it to avoid a lot of misnomer and misunderstandings if we were to sell some of this property, which most of my partners want to do. So y'all see the zest of it is,
That aerial picture you got on the first one, there were 2 quadplexes, 2 duplexes, and a single family. So we met Ms. Tanya, we know we're allowed to do 13 units if we do exactly that, but the chances of somebody wanting to do exactly that, the Corey family would like some kind of, Ms. Kessler's been very helpful on this, kind of, some guidance that I can comfortably get out there. We even proposed, could we mark it, we could at least do 12 units, or what can we do? And Mr. Corey would like, instead of a quad and a duplex, could we do just triplexes? If we gave up, and we're willing to go backwards a little bit on this.
yeah, I don't think that a fourplex would fit good on a lot, so I think it'd be wrong to try to fit one fourplex next to a single or next to a double when you could spread threes and then 3 pairs of twos. It would be clean and very uniform and hopefully real nice. And of course,
Help me, Jack, for a minute. I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
okay, the question is, can we go forward marketing, suggesting to buyers that we have a reasonable chance of grandfathering the density from before?
What is this zone? Tourist commercial, tourist residential?
High density residential.
It wouldn't meet it, Mayor, with the current zoning. The only reason you could do this many densities is because of the grandfathering in rule. But like, rather than market this as you can do a quadplex, he's saying, could we do that?
Explain to me the grandfather rule.
Well,
where's that coming from?
the idea
It's a
of-
I think you're just talking about the current ordinance that allows you to go back to the same density.
Same density. We couldn't you couldn't do that many units if it weren't for the, being allowed to
Meaning
do
to
the
put
same.
back in the same footprint?
Yes, so we
Well, not
know,
the footprint, but density. Remember, there's 2 ordinances.
Yes,
you
right,
guys
that's
said.
right, okay.
And we thought it would look
I got you.
better not on the same
rather than saying
footprint.
a quad and a quad, could we kind of spread it around, is what he's asking.
That's the same.
And just be more uniform and look better. And of course, if we did pull this one and rebuild that in the interim, I didn't wanna throw off the shebang for the rest of
And we
them.
want to keep that one.
Zach might be able to sell the whole package of the other 4 lots and then bring a site plan that could be really good looking to encompass the grouping.
But not to exceed the number of units that are here.
No, we're trying to go down, we've thrown out, we had 13.
Suggesting 12
4,
versus
8, 10, 12, 13.
But anyway, we just wanted to break the ice in a conceptual sense, so if we send people up there for the contract or whatever, they wouldn't be, what are you talking about?
I think that's got merit.
I do too.
I do too.
I like it.
I think that's got merit.
Well, I'm gonna present the next thing at the end of the meeting next time. I'm all tired and ready to go home. Thank y'all for your time, you're doing a good job.
Still didn't we go 5
All right, Tanny, moving on.
That's it, that's all I have.
Miscellaneous, I got one, does anybody else got any? Most important to me, I don't know if there's any more applications for city clerk, but we got a guy leaving now in 3 weeks, or whenever it is, about that.
July
Uh,
2nd.
and we can't sit here and say, okay, it's July 2nd, and we don't have a clerk, so we need, I mean, I assume that y'all seen, to my knowledge, there's 4 applications, has that
I
changed?
think there's 4. We have 2 for mine, that are laying on my desk, so if you guys wanna come look at those.
They're going on.
On the clerk side, I mean, none of these are gonna jump out and slap you upside the head, but they're applications and we need to do at least those, I'm suggesting that we at least talk to this Meyer girl and the Climax clerk. I mean, I don't know. To me, they're much further along than the other 2. Have y'all looked at the application?
I hadn't.
Oh, okay, all right, well then,
It's definitely the clerk from Climax, Georgia. It's
yeah,
definitely-
I mean, at least, I think we gotta row the boat. How about this, at Monday's meeting, by then, could y'all at least have, could we just put that on, add that, just discuss, everybody look at the ones we have? And so we can decide who, or, you know, we can talk about who we would wanna talk to.
Can I pick them up tomorrow, I can get for them.
Pardon?
I can pick the applications up tomorrow, I can get them.
I'll try to find them in Adrian's office.
Oh, good luck.
Well, here, I
Well,
got
just
all
give me a
four of
call.
them, make copies of
Okay.
it. I got all four of them right here. And I'll leave them, pass those down to Mary, or
Oh,
Somebody to make copies.
somebody.
these are the originals, so yeah, we'll.
Okay, that's all I have. Others, Nick,
No, sir.
Danny, I saw you shaking no, so that means no.
No.
Mayor?
No, no.
Got anything? Jerry, you got anything?
No.
Okay, motion for adjournment. Thank you everyone for coming.
Second, third, and fourth.
There you go.
Y'all doing it well.